we're back. Hopefully this works. This hopefully isn't an issue. I'm going to be day trading, obviously, because you see the chart in front of you. Currently, I am mapping out my executions on the NASDAQ and everything, and the S&P to see what's going on and how to deal with it. I am trying to get funded because I was messing around with my software. I am a little bit late on mapping out everything here, so I'm going to get through this and then hopefully we're fine. That was a little weak last week. Let's go up to the daily. Alright, so that's a little weak. Let's see. I already mapped up some fib jumps. Where am I? Overnight highs. Overnight lows. Okay, so that's the range that we were trading in. We gapped up on the open yesterday, last night at 5 my time, at least. Possible jumps here. $94.5s. And that's a fib box. Fib jump. That's a solid area for a jump. I'm going to put another line to that. And one here. Okay. Which at that point I could take these off. I don't trade the first 10 minutes, so that's why I'm not too worried about what the chart's doing on the lower time frame. I'm just mapping out what I think is happening. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only, not trading advice, not anything to do with money or any of that. This is just for fun and mostly for my own sake of watching how I trade back and see where I can improve up for myself. Trade at your own risk. Trading is risky inherently because you are putting money on the line, so trade at your own risk. This is currently a evaluation account, so it's not real money. It's a sim account in order to get funded. Yeah, so that aside, I'm trying to check out where I can improve my own trading and how to trade. I trade the NASDAQs, but I'd like to have a screen up with everything else to see what's going on. And really, this is just to keep me accountable in my own trading. So hopefully it helps me out. I'm gonna have the chat up somewhere if anyone is watching. Okay. Get that out of the way. We're looking at everything at the same time. And I need to rescale some of this stuff, especially the ones on my other screen. Like I said, I have multiple screens up with only 2 tickers. Only the S&P on one screen and the NASDAQ on the other. So as you can see, I'm trading the micros. So it'd be the MES and the MNQ for the current contract of June. We're coming out of a 3-day weekend, so I don't expect any real moves today. All things considered, we're like not even 10 minutes into the market and we're just going flat sideways. Yeah, these are big ass candles, but like we're going sideways. So I'm also gonna do this. Let's see if I change anything on my screen. Does it show? Oh, no. Okay, bet. So I'm currently just watching these candles to see when is a solid entry point, when is a solid exit point. Like I said, I'm trying to get funded. I'm trying to keep myself a lot more accountable to how I'm trading. All things considered, I vaguely know what I'm doing. Alright, correction, I know what I'm doing, but I still make really stupid rookie mistakes. So this is just to keep me accountable, not trading advice, nor is it anything extra than that. I feel like I should give an example of what my strategy is, but that might be a video that I make instead. I feel like if I do start creating content around trading, it would help me stay more accountable to certain things, because there's, I mean, no eyeballs, but some eyeballs on me. So we see how that goes. See, the trend is strong, but the market looks weak. And I only say that because there's not a lot of volume in it. Like, it dramatically decreased as we're going up. We're seeing aggressive buyers coming in on the delta, but I don't think that's a pure confirmation. I think this is just a halt before we extend up a little bit more. I think we're going to try to retest the overnight highs, which we came off of. I mean, we did this morning, so I don't know how strong that is of a trend. I feel like we're squeezing. There's a small squeeze. I'm going to give it a second, see what price wants to do. Okay, so see, that's one of those things where I would have entered a short already, but there wasn't a really true confirmation, because this could tank, come into a fib retracement of right around this little zone over here, and then reverse out. It might not even touch that zone. So, like, what do I do? I'm going to keep this zone out, just because I want to see if there's weakness. Again, we just came off of a weekend, so I'm not trying to do anything too stupid, but I'm also not trying to not participate in this. I just don't think that this is a proper place to enter now. So I'm gonna give it another second. It looks like it wants to snap up. The volatility right now is a little wild. And
order submitted. Order filled.
okay. Market and 454.
Order submitted.
180. Taking off a few points.
Order submitted.
At 1-to-1, I bring it up. That is my entry point, right? Yep. Okay. I'll be honest with you. Seeing the way that it's moving, I'm moving my stop up a lot more. Just because if I'm wrong, that'll show me. If I'm not, then that'll be that. And then what's 90 times 4? 360? Yep. And then that'll be my other, that'll be another 2.
Order submitted.
And then I'll let 1 just run. I'm gonna wait for this candle to close, see how that goes. Before I do anything radical. Like I said, if it snaps back and it hits me here, I'm risking only 80 bucks instead of the original 200. See, the risky part about this right here is that I entered a trade in the middle of this move. I should have entered a little bit higher here, and I'd be really happy with my entry. The fact that it's holding a support here and not tanking doesn't make me happy about this trade. I am going to hold just because I see aggressive sellers coming in, but the volume isn't backing it, which is what's has me a little iffy about this trade. Again, I'm not trading much. I'm not risking a lot. I would be risking about $200 per trade, and because of this move, I sized for a 22 ATR trade, which would be here at 5 contracts. But because of price action, I moved up my stop to here, because if it passes this, I'm wrong. And like I said, this is one of the zone. This is a fib retracement zone. So if it bounces off of this and goes up higher than this candle right here, my entry candle, I'm very much wrong. However, if it cracks underneath this, then it looks like it's going to be running. But who knows? You never know with this. You can never really be right or wrong. You're just kind of going off of what you see. And I have my bases covered. I'm gonna have one contract as a runner. That's kind of what I'm risking right now to do for this trade and for that. Ballsy. Absolutely ballsy. But let's see how it goes. I don't like the fact that it pulled back like that. That's a really hard pullback. And now that's entry plus a point. So now it's a fully risk-free trade, technically speaking.
Order filled.
Order filled. 3. And then we're putting this back up here. There's a resistance line here from price over here, and then another one down here. But delta is pretty strong, so we're gonna let it run as it may. I'm gonna get this like that. Zoom in on that. That is a big ass candle. Okay. Let me see what ES is doing. It's good to go back and forth between them just to see that both the markets are both in confluence with each other. And that's kind of what it seems like. ES is kind of close to high of last week, so we'll see. But because of how big that candle is, I'm not giving back all of that money. If it eats up a 46-point candle, I want to be out. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. A lot of sellers are still entering. I'm gonna give it to the close of this candle. If a move doesn't happen at the close of this by the close of this candle to hit me for my 4 to 1 of my initial 20, this is like a 10R risk on what it was after I moved it up. Go for it.
Order filled.
Okay. Now it's one contract that's left. And at the close of this is where I'm going to trail it. So I'm going to move this candle to that. And if it snaps and continues down, cool. If it doesn't and retreats and snaps back, then it is what it is. Honestly.
Order filled.
I know I didn't close it at the most optimal spot. But with how weak that looks of a candle over here, I feel like this is going to be the low. I should have waited for the close. This can continue, absolutely continue snapping down. Is it really worth it? No, because that one trade netted me $702. I'm not mad at that. Like, genuinely, wholeheartedly, not upset. All things considered, this from the start of this move up here to down here, that's 130 points, and I was able to capture one was at 32, so 32. 32.50. The other one was 6 points higher. 32.50. 89 points. And the other one was $6 higher. $12 higher. Because it was 6 points higher at 38.50. It was exactly 6 points. So what? At most, I gave up $12. Again, this can absolutely say fuck out of here and then continue, but that's where I would have moved my stop to anyway. Like at the close of this, I would have moved it to right here, and I would have been top ticked, and I probably would have been more pissed at the top tick instead of the fact that I got out somewhere in the middle of this candle. Yeah, so that was a solid trade. That was actually really solid. Obviously I could have captured here, but here was too risky because we were still in the middle of this. When I saw weakness here is when I entered. Again, not trading advice. Don't think you guys should follow me considering there's a delay on my stream. And also, I might be wrong. Like, I'm still in the beginning stages of my own education and learning. I don't advise you to just copy my trades. This is not trading advice. This is just for entertainment and for me to keep a stronger journal for myself. Question is now, is this going to reverse back up or is it going to continue down? There was a resistance level here. So we'll bring this down to that, and we'll make it a orange color. Yep. And that hit right through here. This was overnight. It re-ate all of overnight's movement. But as we know, Friday was one hell of a run. So the fact that it did that is kind of crazy. This could be just a pause before a continuation, or it could be a full-on reversal. We'll see. If it cracks below here, I might re-enter for a short. Just because there was a resistance level here as well. But there's some movement. Oh, shit. Ooh, that's not. Yeah, that today seems like it's gonna keep drowning down. I should have been paying attention. I looked at my phone. See, that's one of those things. It's like I just came off of this win. I don't want to re-enter instantly, but this is currently a 42 point candle. Holy shit. Yeah, so if I entered with the same exact sizing, this would have been $400 right here. Again, could just be a fluke and be like, psych, you thought, and went up. But considering we've had this massive rally overnight that just got eaten, and then Memorial Day weekend on Friday, we've had this massive push. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy point, but again, it's nice, but my concern is there's no follow through. I again could be speaking a little too early. There could be a massive drop, but when you see a big move like this, you tend to want to see a continuation, not a double bottom. What this shows me is that this was a exhaustion candle. A few more shorts to get out, and then price wants to stay. Now I'm seeing like aggressive sellers coming into the market, which is nice, but price action kind of looks weak, especially with volume. Not to say that this isn't an area where it's going to continue down. It's just because volume isn't here for the continuation after this big candle. I tend to want to stay out of that. Again, at the same time, let's see what the ES is looking at. The ES has almost as equal volume, but the move isn't there, which means that buyers are coming in and stopping price. So when you see something like that, you tend to want to wait. I'm glad I didn't chase that either. This looks weak. This looks like it's going to reverse. Again, this could be the absolute bottom of the market, and it could come up. Realistically, this little box right here is where price is going to come up before it tanks again. 75. There, that. So that's what I'm looking for. If I'm wrong about this entry, then I'm wrong about this entry. But with how price action is, if we slowly grind up to this, it's coming back down. I'm not saying that definitively, but I'm saying that definitively. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely don't enter that, because I could be 100% wrong, but I'm kind of confident that's what's going to happen, and that usually is a bad idea. When you become overly confident about what the market is going to do, it tends to humble you and tell you to go fuck off. So, let's not. Especially with how strong of a candle this was. If it eats it and comes up, I mean, yeah, that would be a problem. I'm also really glad that I didn't move this to break even when it did one of those shits. Also kind of wish I risked more, because if I was risking, you know, the full 200 on the 10 points that I was here, on the 8 points, 10 points that I was on, that would have been like double the amount of money that I just made. Because my entries would have been the same, you know, my exits would have been the same. It just would have been double the contracts. But it is what it is. Sometimes those types of things, it hurts your ego, because you're like, I could have made, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But yeah, I'm walking away with the 5 micro contracts that I did on this with $700. Like, you can't really complain about that. That's not something to be upset about. Oh, oh. Is that? It didn't touch the 50 on that high. And it just tapped the 38 on that. So, I mean, that obviously showed a level of resistance that it came down. I don't see this continuing down. I really do see it come back up and try to retest this. So we'll see how it goes. Considering that there's also not a lot of volume here, but this candle more or less rivals this candle. That's kind of how I feel like it's going to be a shorting day, but I don't think this is a proper entry. I think this has a little bit more space to go up before it continues down. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If the price continues going without me, it is what it is. But, you know. It retested the high on the ES. So if you come over and, like I said, I like to watch both screens. I trade NASDAQ, but both the markets go together. It's just the NASDAQ moves a little bit faster. And as you see, it tested the overnight lows, broke out, and then came back in. It tested the overnight highs, the high of last week, and then snapped back in. I believe that the high of last week is not. Did we count the Friday massive gap? So this is where it closed on Friday. Or, no, I lied. The close was somewhere down here and it gapped up pretty significantly. Right, this is where we closed on Friday, but the highs of Friday of last week was somewhere else. So when we opened, we gapped up and then came back down. The overnights kind of pushed it up and we went sideways for quite some time. But right now, we're here at the high of week of last week. We get snapped down. Like I'm seeing deltas show up a lot on the ES. But we're going sideways. I think we come up, we touch this, and we snap. Again, not trading advice, nor... I both do and don't trust my own abilities to read the charts, because I have a track record of being right but executing improperly. And because of that, I sometimes hesitate when the trade is proper. Like seeing this, it makes sense to me, right? Like we're gonna slowly grind up to this fib retracement and then snap down. Cool. Delta is showing me that it wants to snap down now, but we don't have the volume behind this trade. So I think that from a lot of people that are here who entered shorts here, right, it's gonna push it up. Again, if it pushes up, then I lost my train of thought. I looked at my phone again and I completely lost my train of thought. Rewind that shit. Because the volume is low here, and because a lot of this was both people's stop losses getting hit and new shorts entering, I think that here people are going to want to push the price back up. I.e., I think buyers are going to come in and enter here because we're finding a resistance level right here, as you see. And also, all the shorts that were here are taking profits, and all the new shorts in this candle are probably going to lose their stop losses. If we break above this candle, I think we're going to snap up. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. In my opinion, this is the best possible price. That doesn't mean that that's what price wants. Again, we're cutting down. We're gonna snap in either one direction, but with how much buyers were coming in the past few days, more specifically the Friday before vacation, before a 3-day weekend, it's anybody's guess, really. I'm just gonna move this up like that. If it retests this line and fails, then there's a higher likelihood that it's gonna go up. Wow, it really touched in, said psych. And you see. Okay, good. Broke through that resistance. But again, volume isn't there. That's not what you want to see when you break through a resistance level. At least not on a candle that touches it like that. That's showing me more bullish action than bearish. But we got 5 seconds left in this candle. Let's see how it goes. Okay. I should have held on. To be honest with you, now that I'm looking at this, in hindsight, I feel like I should have held on to this candle, and then as soon as this snaps up like this, I should cut it. But the fact that I cut it up here, it kind of hurts, but also doesn't at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like if I leave the candle up here like this, and then it went dunk. But again, that's toxic. That is a toxic trait that I have of shoulda, woulda, coulda, wish I did type of thing. Especially because, again, I've made more money in one single trade in the matter of what? Well, how long was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes. Each one of these candles is 2 minutes, by the way, guys. Like if you couldn't tell from the thing on the side, but 10 minutes. I mean, $700. Like that's more than what most people make in a single week at a minimum wage job, right? Pulling 40 hours. I don't know what state you guys are in. In New York, it's 15 an hour. 40 hours, that's about $600. Right? And that's minimum wage here. If you're in Jersey or any other state that pulls what is it, $8 an hour, $9 an hour? That's like 2 weeks of your paycheck. Sometimes even 3, depending on everything else. So, like, I have to put that in perspective, because like, you fall into a trap where you're watching all these YouTubers and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm so and so made 10, 20, 30 grand in a single day. Like, yeah, but $1,000 is still more than quote unquote a regular job. And this isn't a regular job, right? Like for most people, the whole concept of you doing what with how and all of this is a little insane. And then on top of that, you pull in the statistic of 95% of traders fail. You start to want to stay humble, because it being humble keeps you out of doing stupid shit. Right? If you're greedy on this candle, you would enter, be like, oh, I don't want to lose out, but you would have lost this. You know what I'm saying? If you see the crack of this and you entered as being greedy somewhere down here, you lost a significant amount of money, because this is 40 points plus. From here to where price is now, it's 50 points. At $2 a point on the micro, or $20 a point on the regular mini, that's $1,000, right? Like that's you losing $100 to $1,000 depending on your sizing difference. Like that's not worth. And on what? Because you want to be greedy and pull out a few more dollars down here. Like that's you gotta. Sometimes you just gotta put things in perspective. Like, you know, I do like this price action. We're kind of slowly grinding up. We are hitting an EMA. I believe that's the 21 on mine. So, we'll see. Mm. And see, this becomes the issue of trading, where you gotta patiently wait for this. Market does is pretty consistent in what it does. The reason that people aren't consistent is because they themselves are not consistent. The market is consistent in what it does, though. Price is either going to go up or down or sideways. And there's patterns that it shows up and movements that it does on a daily basis. Right? If you look at the charts, every chart looks the same. Every chart has moves that are almost identical to one another. The only thing that isn't identical is who the person is trading. That is trading. Right? So if you're sitting here and you yourself are inconsistent in your actions, your thought processes, your movement, and all that stuff, like, that's where you get fucked up. Just kind of plain and simple, because your inconsistency isn't allowing you to do what you should be doing. And as exciting as making a couple grand a day is, for a lot of people that's life-changing money. If you're not consistent in who you are and in the way that you move, you kind of screw yourself over. And also, when stuff like this happens, you could start getting really tight and be like, oh, I should have entered. I'm going to enter now. And then guarantee you this candle's going to pop up, probably hit you at a stop loss, and then come back down. Or this is one of those lucky times where it says Psychathon continues down. See? The fact that price just halted there in value area is a problem. I'm only going to trade for like another half hour. If a real setup shows itself, cool, I'll enter. I mean, like, as clean as a setup like this is, then cool, I'll enter. But if it's not as clean as this trade, I'm not really doing that. $44. Oh, no, wrong. Yeah, this was just like straight in the money. So, and now we're bobbing in a value area. So I might just call it there, to be honest with you. All things considered, like, this was a solid trade. And it put me back into a position where I regained all the money that I had lost on Friday. Actually, I lost a little bit more, but that doesn't really matter. The whole thing is, like, live to trade another day, and that one win brought back 75% of the losses that I did on Friday. So I'm in a pretty healthy spot with my trading currently. I just hope that I would be able to continually execute like I did today. And again, that comes back to a consistency level of on my end. The psychology of trading is the most difficult part. And I feel like I could be talking completely out of my ass right now, but like the fact that I'm streaming to anyone and everyone that would be able to watch would both benefit me and potentially bite me in the ass at the same time. Right? Excuse me. The fact that I know that people are going to be watching, and as we all know, people are going to judge, right? Like, I'm not stupid. People are going to be like, oh, why would you do this? Why would you do that? What, this strategy doesn't make any sense. Try this instead. I get that. And part of me likes to prove people wrong. So that's kind of what this is. They both help me stay consistent and potentially prove some people wrong. And yeah, that's really it. My strategy tends to be fairly simple. Once you understand what I'm looking at and what my criteria is to enter a trade. But like I said, the biggest issue isn't that the strategy works or that the charts are wrong or this or that. The biggest issue is that I don't stick to my rules like I should because of an emotional tie to money. Like, I don't have a problem spending or quote unquote wasting money, but I do have a problem with being wrong with how I use my money. Does that make any sense to you guys? Like, the retest here could have been an entry point, to be honest with you, but I saw this too in the middle of my rant, and it was in the middle of this, and I didn't want to enter it. I probably would have entered it if I wasn't, one, ranting, and two, streaming. And again, this would have been good, or it could have snapped down and then clicked up. Like, that's why I have this resistance level, and so far that are solid spots. The volume is not matching this big ass candle. So we'll see how this candle closes. It doesn't look good. Where was I? My ADHD ass like completely forgot where I was talking about. Yes, emotional trading. Right. It's difficult because I definitely don't have some of the experience level of some of the other traders that are pulling 10 grand days, 50 grand days, 100 grand days. But they had to go through a journey to get to where they are. And it's difficult for me because my own ambition is both something that helps fuel me and also pulls me out of what I should be doing. So, there's that. Sometimes you get a little overzealous on trying to get it, that you fuck yourself over. And you didn't mean to. Like, there was no malicious part. Like, you want to be the best. You want to do the most. But, yeah, sometimes that's not necessary. Doing a lot is not necessary. Doing what is proper 9 times out of 10 is. So, continuing to watch this. The NQ did something crazy. Right here. Came up, touched the 200, and then instantly slapped back down using this. Right. That's a solid trade considering where it closed, it gapped up and then got slapped. But again, we're at this long wick candle right here. The fact that these candles have long wicks is concerning, and it looks like there's a double bottom here even though this candle slapped it out. Sellers tried to push this, but the buyers came in, as you can see right here. Right. So that's interesting. That's an interesting thing to see. This zone is still valid until either this breaks out of this, until price slaps out of this point right here at 399, 14,399.25, or it completely demolishes this area and goes up, and that's at 14,478. That's a big gap from where price is to was. You know, like we dropped a solid 30 or solid 50 points, 64 points, geesh, from top to bottom. You can't, there's no shot in hell that you could ever like fully execute the top or bottom. Even if you did try to do that, if you're entering on a buy on a bid, like the ask or bids, or if you're entering at market, there's no shot you're getting filled at the tips, right? So best bet is you try to up here and then you failed this candle. At the close of this, you enter the short. Super risky because you never know if it's going to continue up. Considering this was my zone, there's no shot in hell I was going to enter 20 points below where I thought it was going to be. Right? And the same thing with this. There's no shot that you're going to exit right at the bottom, considering, you know, I used my ATR, and 2 times ATR would be a best possible area you could have entered would be here. Right? When you came back into entry and then it tried up and failed, the open of this, and then 2 times ATR is 50 points, you'd still be in a trade, and this would be nearly a break even. Or at this point, with this candle here, broke you out at break even. There's a lot of resistance at this point. It's getting closer towards 11. It's 10:30 right now. And the closer it gets to 11, the less volume there is, and you can even see that on my volume chart. So there's that. All things considered, the big move of the day could have been this. There's something better that could happen later in the day. I tend not to trade later in the day. I like the first 2 hours at most. I pop on earlier to like map out my chart and try to see what's going on and where it might go. And then from there I'll trade the first. Generally my trading starts at like, I don't take any trades in the first 10 minutes. That's just, I want to see where the market goes. Yeah, I have an idea of where it's going to go because of the pre-market and the overnight. But I don't take any trades because, you know, Americans might feel some type of way and the Europeans might not. So Europe or a London session might say that it should go up to this price, but the Americans, or New York session specifically, would say it otherwise. Technically, this is the Chicago session because it starts at because the NASDAQ is a Chicago exchange, but I'm living in New York, so 9:30 New York time. that's kind of where is that? Eastern Standard? I believe that's Eastern Standard. I'm googling that before I look like an absolute dumbass. I'm sure I did it already, but like still. Eastern EDT, so Eastern Standard Time, I guess. Is the same thing? Oh, one. Sorry. We're currently in Eastern Daylight Time. But yeah, see, this is the chop. I'm glad that I didn't enter the chop. Historically, for me, my worst trades like this, I'm able to execute pretty well. Right? Like you know, we're compressed here, and price tried to go up, got slapped back in pretty heavy, and then tried to go up again, and then got rejected again. Right? Trades like this, very easy for me to execute. But when we come into a zone like this, identifying this at an early time and also not trading at an early time becomes a little bit more difficult for me. So that's definitely something I need to work on. Especially because most of the time we go into a session of a choppiness market before we pull a move like this either to the up or down direction. So that's an issue because what happens to me is that I'll see this choppiness and I'll enter and exit and completely get fucked up, just completely get demolished through all this, and then mentally and financially be drained out of this, and then be like, yeah, I can't take another trade, and a setup like this starts happening, and I exit before the confirmation happens. And then I'll look back at the chart a couple hours later and be like, oh shit, I should have waited an extra 10 minutes. It would have made all the losses and then some. And then at that point, I'm too pissed to do anything else. And I don't trade the afternoon session like I trade the morning session. So I tend to stay out. And, you know, a day that could have been a winning day or a green day. Yeah, we're gonna go green instead of winning, because it could still be a green day and you lost because you didn't stand behind your rules and stuff. But it could have been a green day, a red turned green day if I just waited, or a green day flat out if I was more patient with the price. But instead, it's a red day because I got chopped up and was emotionally too drained to continue trading. Now, this is becoming an issue because I could feel myself wanting to enter a trade. Problem is, the longs are a bad idea because today is most likely a shorting day. Considering we did drop 100 and something points in a matter of 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 160 points in 20 minutes from top to bottom. That's a lot. That is a lot of points in a very short amount of time. Right? So that's that. But because of that move, I want to re-enter into another one, feeling like if I'm in a trade, I'm actually trading, but this is trading. Staying out of a move is more likely going to be better for you because you're able to conserve both mental capital and financial capital, which is the biggest part because that's when you have an excess of those two things, then you're able to execute properly. I'm just getting antsy, and I have to learn to just sit on my hands. Especially because we are at the bottom of the market, right? This is the absolute low of the day. And this is a 50% retracement on the big move. And then this little one is a 50% retracement out from the retest of the move. And that's where I got this zone from. So can we snap down? Absolutely. We could continue snapping down. Or we could stay sideways for the rest of the day. Or we could snap up. The fact that I have no clue on what we are going to do or should do is the exact reason why I am trying to stay out of this market. Also, when I've been sitting here for 50 minutes since the last trade, and nothing has happened. Like I said, at 11 o'clock, if nothing continues, if it's just flat for the rest of the next 20 minutes, then I'm done for the day. If magically it comes up to my price point before I log off, then cool. If it hits my price point after I log off, then it is what it is. I'm just gonna put an alert at this price. What is it? 70. Okay. Good. I'll pull an alert for right below the zone so that if I'm dozing off or like just doing nothing, looking at my phone or something, it'll ring off and be like, hey, you wanna opt into doing something, or are we gonna be a dumb fuck? I'm not going anywhere yet. I'm just gonna sit here on my hands, probably respond to a couple people that are texting me, but yeah, see, it's still not with it. There's no momentum in it. I also don't see that there's going to be momentum in it for the rest of the day. there's no financial news on the rest of the night that the rest of the day that would make this go up or down. We're having a pretty chill week when it comes to news, at least. Canadian GDP is coming out tomorrow. Jobless claims comes out on Thursday. And non-farm payroll comes out on Friday. Yeah. So, I'm not expecting anything really to happen today. Oh. That's not concerning at all. Apologies. I just looked at Apex, and for whatever reason their site is down. Honestly, even if it comes up to my point up here, I might not trade it. It's late enough in the day that I don't feel as comfortable trading as I would otherwise. Excuse me. So I might just stay out of that. I'm more concerned with why Apex's website is down. Alright, well, Apex's site's down. Trading is still solid. So it is what it is. You know, the fact that it still hasn't touched this point, and we're less than 7 minutes away from 11 o'clock is treachery. How dareth. But it's not the worst thing in the world. I might, for my own mental sake, I might not actively trade this, but I'll put in the spot in which, like, I'll do this. And then this will be... I'll give it 10 points. 9.5 is fine. With something that's in the upper echelon of the trade setup. Yeah. And then 76. We'll do that. We'll wait for it to eventually come up here. Don't get me wrong, like these moves, if you're able to trade that, is profitable, and you would be able to make quite a bit of money off of doing that. Like I said, I don't feel comfortable taking a trade like this. I also don't see an entry point. The only entry point that I saw was here to the downside, or this rejection to the upside, which would have netted you 38 points, 37 points, 40 points if you're able to see the resistance up at the top of this. But that's a risky trade. This is a risky trade. This here, if you entered on this retest and failed the support line, excuse me, that would have been a decent enough trade for you. I feel like if you entered here to here, that's 20 points, 28 points. The only thing that I would have been okay with really is going long from somewhere on this line and then trying to capture that move, because I know in my heart of hearts that this is where it's gonna come up. I don't know if I would be willing to. I would probably be trailing this if I did choose to enter that. Most of the time a trade like that has it doesn't work out for me, so I tend to stick with trades that do work out for me, and that's using Fibonacci zones. Again, this is a resistance line here. Alright, well, at the close of this candle it's 11 o'clock. And it's very clear to me that that's not going to touch that. The moves are here. Well, they're not here. This was a pretty flat value area of a trading zone for the past hour. The only crazy part is if you rode this down here and then reversed it here to the upside. Again, that's dumb, stupid risky, but yeah, it is what it is. Re-entry here at this candle when there wasn't any power to the upside to capture this candle here. That would have been your best bet. Besides those, I don't see an area to enter here, and these types of trades, in my opinion, are just extremely risky, and you definitely should not enter stuff that is more risky than it needs to be. You know, like, trading is difficult enough. Don't be entering trades that are going to absolutely ruin you if there isn't a reason to. You know, like this trade here, I should have sized up because this was as clean as could be. With this, I should have, instead of entering 5 contracts, I should have entered 10 or 15 and then kept it that tight. That would have been a really nice trade, especially with how much space it's gone. But anything else here, you're just asking to get yourself fucked over. Can this continue going up? Sure. Is this going to waver back and forth until it picks a direction and snaps right out of it? Most likely. Most likely this is going to go sideways for another half hour before it picks a direction and goes with it. And even if it picks a direction, there's no shot that it's going to be as big of a move as this was. Maybe half. Maybe it'll go up another 60 points or down another 70 points. That's a very possible thing. Yep, there it goes. Currently, time is 11 o'clock, and we did nothing for the past hour. It is what it is. That's kind of what trading is. Sometimes you gotta be patient. Sometimes you gotta be really quick and execute. But that was as good as a trading day as that I could have personally requested. I'm not used to sizing up on extra trades like this, but this was a 10-hour trade. Like, that's what this was. A 10-hour trade is significant. You know, I risked 5 contracts at 9 points a piece. That's $90. Well, 92.50 technically with all 5 contracts at this. And instead I made 700. Scaling out slowly. So, you know, I'm still refining my trading strategy. This zone is still valid, by the way. But I think I need to cut it here before I just stare at this chart and get itchy to for it to do something. I'm genuinely staring at this chart. Alright. Last candle. Let's see how it closes. I'm not trading regardless. If it closes strong, then I might watch to see what happens with the next one. If it closes weak, i.e. not close to this box and more close down here, I'm done. The last 20 seconds of a candle kind of is what matters anyway, so let's see what it does. Realistically, the last 10 or 5. I've realized that the last 10 to 5 seconds of the candle is where most of the move happens, and then it shows you like what it's going to go afterwards. So, yeah, done. I'm over it. It is what it is. Thanks for watching. Again, this is just for entertainment purposes. And mostly to keep myself accountable as like a third version of a what's it called? A journal. Trade was a solid trade. It's as perfect as I could have executed that. And yeah, I'm glad that I was able to trade this as it was. This zone was never hit, which is unfortunate. That is a lot of candle for not a lot of volume. Sorry, I got really distracted with that. I digress. Thanks for watching. Thanks for helping me with my trading, really. There's my signal. Oh, it's in my zone. Let's see what it does. It is so close to where I wanted it to trigger. I usually would go into the middle of this, but that's unfortunate. Who knows? It could still hit it, but probably not. That's as clean as it could be in the middle of the zone. Literally, the top of this is the high is 14,478.75, and my fake entry was literally a tick away. That's hysterical. Hey, like. If I was a tick lower, you'd be 20 points already, 21 points already in the money. That's $40 a contract on the micros. Again, I don't know if that's significant. I don't know if it's going to continue going. Most likely those zones are strong, but it is what it is. I digress. Thanks for watching. I'll be back streaming tomorrow. I don't stream every day just because I also have a job. And because of the job, I usually trade only Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, but this week is a little different. This week I have the rest of the week off, so I'll be able to trade the rest of the week every day. So I'll be on here every single day streaming. Yeah. So I would hope I get to see you guys tomorrow. Come by, watch, entertain, yell at me for doing stupid shit. And that's that on that. This is just for entertainment purposes. It's not even educational. Just entertainment. You might find something of value, but trade at your own risk. I'm only doing this for purely entertainment reasons. and selfish reasons. I want a better live stream of how I'm trading and all that. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.